what is going on, and welcome back to What Shall We Do Next. I'm Mike, your host, and I hope you guys are having the best day ever. Before I get started, guys, if you are new here, please subscribe if you haven't already done that. We're on the road to 82,000 subscribers, and I would love you to join me on this journey. So hit subscribe and join the fam. And also, guys, go follow me on all my social media. Links are in the description. I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even Snapchat, so go follow me on all of those. And as you guys know, I recently started a Facebook account, so you can add me on Facebook, and we can be Facebook friends, so go do that. Link is in the description. And finally, be sure to turn on the notification bell right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified every time I upload a video. Thank you. But once again, I am coming back at you guys with another creepy video, and today we are talking about another scary story. And this scary story is called Wilderness Camp. So the story of Wilderness Camp is an urban legend about a camp, an abandoned camp, where one time a group of kids like Cub Scouts were there playing an innocent game of hide and seek, which had some pretty horrible consequences. But enough of the jibber jabber, let's get right over to the story. Wilderness Camp. There's an abandoned wilderness camp a few miles from where I live. A couple of years ago, it was a popular place for parents to send their kids during the school holidays. The counselors would meet the kids at the main road and then hike out into the wilderness until they came to an isolated area where the cabins were located. For years, the local people spread rumors about the wilderness camp. They said it was built on an area of accursed ground where 30 years earlier, a religious sect had committed a mass suicide. Local people would never send their kids to the camp, so the only children who went there were from out of town. None of these kids were aware of the history of the place. One night, the counselors were arranging activities and games to keep the kids occupied. They decided to play a game of hide and seek. To make it more challenging, they tied one of the kids, a young boy named Gerald, to a tree in the middle of the forest. He was told to close his eyes and count to 100, while the other kids were finding hiding places in the woods. When the boy was finished counting, he would have to untie himself and go looking for the others. The counselors and the kids spent 20 minutes or more crouching behind trees and rocks, waiting for Gerald to come and find them. They started to wonder where the boy was. Finally, they grew impatient and made their way back to the clearing where they had left Gerald. There, at the foot of the tree, they found a horrible scene. The rope was still tied around the tree, but poor Gerald had been chopped up into tiny pieces. Bits of his body were strewn all around the clearing, and his severed head was balanced on a tree branch. The kids were all screaming and crying. The counselors were trying to calm them down, but there was little they could do. Eventually, they all went back to the cabins, and one of the counselors tried to use a long-wave radio to contact the police. Unfortunately, the radio was broken, so the first counselor hiked back down the dirt road to alert the police, while the other counselor stayed with the children to make sure they were safe. As the kids sat in the cabin, they trembled with fear and tried to make sense of what had happened. The counselor, who was staying with them, seemed really shaken and began drinking alcohol. He was knocking back glass after glass with shaking hands. He kept telling the kids that it was probably a wild animal, a man-eating beast from the forest that tore their poor friend to pieces. The kids all said that the theory couldn't possibly be true. Gerald's body had been chopped up. No wild animal could have done that. They all agreed that their friend must have been murdered by a person. They began to suspect everyone and questioned each other. "Where were you?" asked one boy. "I was hiding behind a rock with her," said a girl. "And where were you?" asked another girl. "I was up in a tree. I can prove it. He saw me climbing up there," said another boy. Eventually, they had accounted for everyone's whereabouts, except for the counselor. "Where were you?" asked one of the boys. The counselor just stared at them and refused to answer. His eyes seemed to glaze over, and his face twisted into a horrible grimace. Just then, the kids heard the sound of a jeep driving up the dirt road. The counselor jumped out of his chair and ran out of the cabin. The kids raced to the window and caught sight of him, just as he disappeared into the woods. When police arrived, the kids told them about the counselor, and they took off after him, running into the wilderness with their guns drawn. Even though the police searched the forest for 4 whole days, no trace of the counselor was ever found. The children were urgently evacuated, and the wilderness camp was closed down. It now lies abandoned. Of course, there are still some thrill seekers who hike out to the remote camp, specifically to be able to say they stayed there overnight and lived. Many of them come back talking about some strange paintings on the walls of the surviving buildings. Some of them don't come back at all. And that is the end of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. It was a really cool story. I love stories like this when it's involving the woods and the nighttime and the mountains, and it's like a mystery between, is this a beast? Is this a monster? Is it a demon? Is it a person? Is it your best friend? Who knows? I just love these mysterious stories, and I probably will do some more of them if I can find some more. They're really cool. I don't know what it is, but I find it really exciting. I don't know if you guys feel the same way when I talk about them, but like, it's almost like another level of like, with a ghost story, you know it's gonna be a ghost, but with this kind of story, it's like, what is it? Like, was it the man? What do you think happened? I don't know. Like, what's going on? I'm lost. But yeah, if you guys know any stories that are similar to this, where it involves people camping in the woods, and you want me to tell one of those stories, let me know in the comment section, and I will be sure to check it out. But my question to all of you for question of the day is, do you believe this was the counselor who did this to the kid Gerald, or do you believe it was something else? Like, do you think maybe he was possessed, or do you think he was just drunk because he was drinking a lot, or do you think he was just going insane? Like, what happened? I mean, it could have been something else, and this guy just had like a nervous freak out because, one, he's in the middle of the woods on his own with a group of kids, knowing that there is a killer out there who's just chopped up this little boy. So that might have triggered some kind of like nervous thing, and when he heard the Jeep coming up, he probably thought it was the killer returning and fled. Maybe, who knows, maybe. And then the reason he was never found again was because he was then killed by the killer. Even though the police were searching for him for 4 days, did it say? 4 days, and they never found him. So maybe the killer got him too. You don't know. Like, that's what I love about these stories. You can make your own theories out of it. It doesn't necessarily say that it was him. Could have been. So yeah, my question to all of you guys is, what do you think happened here? Do you think he was possessed? Do you think he just went insane? Do you think he wanted to kill the kids? Do you think, well, what do you think happened? Let me know in the comment section. That is question of the day. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please slap a like on it. Let's see if we can go for 73 billion likes on this video. I would really appreciate that. And if you guys didn't see my previous video about the kid who found a portal to another world, even though it was the same world, it was just another dimension because everything was different. But if you guys didn't see that, I suggest you check it out. It's not really scary, but it's definitely creepy, and it makes you wonder, like, are portals to other dimensions and other worlds, are they real? Like, just in a different, like, thing that we can see, like a different dimension. Like, it's still here with us, but it's on the other side of something else. Like, it's hidden behind everything that we see. It's pretty creepy, and it really does get you thinking. So if you guys want to check that out, click on the end screen when it comes on, the outro, and you should see it about here.
click on it. It will take you straight over to that. But remember the most important thing of all, guys, chase your dreams. I love you all. Don't let anybody bring you down, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for another video. Peace out. Enjoy your weekend, guys.